My friends, we're going to talk about kind of a dark story, but I'm very optimistic that ultimately this is going to help you out. But before we do, a quick update. If you've been following my channel, you know that this month I'm being inducted into the North Dakota State Wrestling Hall of Fame. Now, the problem is I didn't have a lot of notice about this, and we had to scramble to get my son's paperwork in order so he can go with and go to America. And if I was going to receive this award, of course it's a great honor, a great recognition, but to do it without my son, it would have been very bittersweet. And he's the love of my life, and I'm very happy to report to you that thankfully, we were able to get everything in order, so now he can come with me to America to receive this award. And I preface this video with this story, not just to update you, but I also want you to understand where I'm coming from. And I know that if you're not a dad, you probably think I'm being overly dramatic, but if you are a dad, you probably understand exactly what I'm talking about. Now, there's this channel on YouTube, and it's run by a guy that calls himself Kenny KO. And basically he does a drama, a gossip channel, but specifically for the fitness industry. I know a lot of you people probably didn't know that something so specific exists, but he's not the only one either. But part of what he does, and this guy, Kenny KO, he's kind of a sleazy guy, and I don't even know if he would mind me calling him a sleazy guy, because I think he knows that's what he is and he just accepts it. But in life, often bad guys, and I'm not saying this is an evil guy, I don't really like people trashing others or trying to tear other people down. But in life, bad guys, they can do some good things, even if that's not really their intention to do good things. So this guy's profiting off of the pain of others. But I think he also does a lot of good in a way, because he exposes fakes, people that are total frauds. And I think that people idolize these people and they think they're one thing, but if he exposes them for the reality, like in his example, using fake weights or using steroids when they claim to be natural, I think it's great. Now, coming from more the martial arts background, that's something that we've had for a long time, especially in the 70s and 80s before the UFC really got popular and people learned what's legit and what's not. You had all these really fake guys running martial arts studios, and they would tell you things like they know how to do this secret dim mock, the death touch, or pressure points. And you have there's videos of this online. You have guys that will say, I can knock people out without even touching them with my power. I will just shoot the energy at them, and then the guy falls down and he's knocked out. So a lot of those guys have been exposed, so we see less of those, but you see a lot of that in the fitness industry. And now there's this guy, he's an Australian, Calum Von Moger or Moger. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. As one commenter said on the new video by Kenny KO, Calum Von Deadbeat. But we'll get to that. I'm not real familiar with this Calum guy. He looks great. He's a competitive bodybuilder, and now he's a social media star. I understand all that. And a few months back, I watched the movie Bigger, which is about Joe Weider, who there's good things about Weider, bad things about Weider. He's also kind of one of those shady guys in the fitness industry, but like many prominent businessmen, he also did good things, and he really popularized bodybuilding and put it more in the public consciousness and made people more interested in it and got a lot of people in it through his publications, even though he did shady things like selling really crappy supplements, protein pills that were mostly sugar pills and things like that. But in the movie, this Calum guy, he plays Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's actually the highlight of the whole movie, even though he's not in the movie much. He's in the movie maybe less than 10 minutes as Arnold, and he's probably the perfect choice at this point because he looks a lot like Arnold, both body-wise and physically, or enough like him that he's the reasonable choice to play him, and he did a good job in this movie. But this new video by Kenny KO, he exposed some things about his personal life, and some people were kind of saying that this was going too far, But ultimately, I think Kenny did a good job because even though this is getting messing with people's personal lives, there's a greater lesson for the rest of everyone else to take note. Because sometimes when we do things, we can rationalize and make excuses for our behavior. But if we look at other people doing something and we look at it from the perspective of an outsider, it gives us a more reasonable, balanced perspective on things. So this is this guy, the Calum guy, very goofy looking haircut, and it's kind of like, what's the point of doing all these steroids and working out constantly, watching your diet, and having a great looking body if you're just going to have a stupid looking haircut? I don't know, unless he's doing it for some kind of movie role. But anyways, he's confronting him here, and apparently what happened is Calum, he got a girl pregnant that he was just kind of casually seeing. They weren't even really boyfriend and girlfriend. And then before she had the baby, he blocked her, wouldn't talk to her. He hasn't paid any money for anything. He won't let people know. He doesn't want a lot of this to get out anyways. So here you have Kenny Kenny confronting him here in obviously an awkward confrontation of things that are coming out. And this is the girl, and in this video, you can check it out for yourself. She tells her story about everything, and the comments were very interesting on this video because a lot of people were saying they looked up to him, and now they see what kind of person he is, and you can especially see the comments from the dads. Now, some people, they said this is only her side of the story and there's two sides of the story, and I'm sure there is more to it than just what's in a condensed video of the story, but the bottom line is she has paperwork of DNA testing showing that it is his kid, so that's the fact of the matter. The guy, she has to go to court just to get child support. He wanted her to have an abortion, and maybe part of that's being Australian. They don't have the religious influence on the culture like we have traditionally in the United States, and she didn't want to do it, thankfully. I honestly believe that if people actually knew what abortion entails, if they actually knew what abortion is, I don't think there's a single person that would be in favor of abortion. And I was very shocked by the comments, how many people saying that, well, he doesn't want the kid, she should have just had an abortion. I can't believe the thinking and the morality of some of these people, but to give people the benefit of the doubt, I think they honestly don't know exactly what abortion is. But the whole story is really, especially from the viewpoint of someone that's a father, and you can see the fathers, guys that are fathers, leaving comments because guys without kids, they don't understand how much it changes your perspective on everything. And the whole thing is a very tragic story, and part of the reason she said that he doesn't really want to have a kid, apparently this guy's 29 years old too. What a perfect time to be a father. And the guy, apparently he has some money, probably not a lot, but enough to be okay in life. And she said part of the reason he doesn't want the kid is he's worried about his public image. He wants to project this perfect image of himself because that's how he makes his money as a social media star. And as someone that comes kind of from that background myself, I have another channel, I've had it for a long time, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I started vlogging and showing my personal life before it was quite so mainstream like now. But once it started to get more mainstream, I started to see how fake things were coming in the YouTube celebrity world with the social media stars, the vloggers showing their lives, how much was really kind of disingenuous. So I can totally understand that, but I'm thinking, apparently this guy's 29 years old, but he seems so unbelievably immature. He would rather put out a fake image of himself because if you're a social media star, it's not just about how you look, which in his case it is, but you have to go out partying, you have to show that, you have to show yourself supposedly having lots of fun and adventures, and to him that would get in the way. And I know many guys, including myself, they want to delay having children because they think, I'm not ready yet. I need more. Most people, I need more money. I need to be set more in my career. And that can be somewhat of a valid reason. But the reality is, there's no such thing as a perfect time to have children. You can't wait for the perfect time, otherwise it's not going to happen. In 20 years, this guy will be 49 years old, the kid will be 20 years old. His followers, there's a good chance they're not going to be there anymore. There's a good chance he's not going to be able to make a living. He'll be a 49-year-old man trying to vlog and be a social media star. I don't know that that's his plan, but this career is not a long-term path, like I said, as someone that's lived it. And there's just a good chance that, quite frankly, you might lose interest in it, especially as you mature mentally and get older. You feel kind of silly doing some of this stuff. But I understand that this is his way to make a living, and he thinks it's going to get in his way. But why can't he just make the kid part of it? Especially this, the cat is out of the bag now. You can't keep this out there, and this is something that's definitely hurting his image that he was trying so hard to protect. But he could just as easily make the kid part of it somehow. Now, instead of just being this fun-loving social media star that's a bodybuilding star, he can make the kid part of it. And I understand that right now this guy thinks that this is a terrible thing and he's panicking and all that. That's really natural. But ultimately, I think 20 years down the road, not even that, he's going to be so thankful that he did not have this kid killed when he was still in the mom's stomach. I have a son that's 1 year old now, but I actually think of him as being closer to 2 years old because he was still with us when he was in the mom's stomach. I remember there'd be times all of a sudden you'd see something come out from the belly bump. You'd see like something pointy, and he's on the inside. He's pushing his foot through, and you could touch it. You could feel his foot through her stomach, actually. And I still think of him as being with me all that time. I don't think of him as 1 year old. So it's kind of strange. Even when he was born, and they said first minute of life, they said to take the statistics down of the checking, making sure everything's okay when he came out. And I have it on video even. I vlogged that on my other channel. But one of the nurses or someone in the room, I don't know if it's an intern, said first minute of life, and they were doing the stats and marking them down for the records. And to me, that's very strange because that's not the first minute of life. He was with me for 8 months before that. And I say 8 months instead of 9 because he was born a month early. But for 8 months, he was very much with us. So this guy has a kid. Ultimately, I think he's going to, at least I hope, grow up, be forced to grow up. And on this channel, I've talked a lot about, for my generation, one of the great plagues for us is how immature we are. Millennials, which are now very much middle-aged people, and this guy's 29, he's getting very close into getting into his 30s and really being a middle-aged person. But millennials are now middle-aged, close to 40 years old, 38, 39 years old, but they still just want to sit around playing video games, living very childish lives. My grandfather, who's currently 95, about to turn 96, this guy lived through the Great Depression, World War II veteran, had all these difficulties in life, started his own business where he would build custom houses and built many of the great custom houses in the city where I'm from. He had kids by his early 20s, I believe. And there's a lot of people, having kids, it's going to be a sacrifice, and there's times when it's going to be very hard. I have a baby. In the first 3 months of having a baby, that's very challenging, and it's going to try your patience. And I understand as kids get older, especially as they get teenagers, it can be very difficult then. But despite all the difficulties, you'll be happy that you did this in the long run. So I think on the plus side, I think that this guy will come around because, man, I just can't imagine any man wanting to deny his child, especially an athletic guy, having a son. That's the dream of every man I know, especially guys that are athletes, because they want to be able to train their son and pass down their knowledge and make the son better than what they were. Like, for me, having a son is great because I have so much that I can pass down to him in terms of knowledge of different things. If I had a girl, it would be more simplistic, but it wouldn't carry on. I couldn't share certain things with her. So I think that hopefully in the long run, and this might take even decades, hopefully I think the kid's going to be okay. I think the woman does the right thing. And to those people that say it's about money, first of all, even if this guy has money being a social media star, I don't think it's she got pregnant for the money. And the thing about them making this mistake, I'm not going to beat up on anyone that's ever made a mistake like this. You just got to move forward and make the best out of it. And some people are saying she just wants to be with this guy, which she says that's not the case. He can date other women. He can do his own thing. I just want a little bit of help, and I want him in the kid's life. And even if she wanted to be with this guy, that's only natural because that's what would be best for the kid, to have a mom and dad that's together. And you have to make sacrifices when you have a kid. So hopefully when we look at bad fathers like this, and if you've ever heard Owen Benjamin talk about his father, I think that's great too, even though it embarrasses a guy. I think if we look at people like this is a lesson to take away for the rest of us, to not be like that, to avoid those pitfalls. So until next time, my friends,